Hey everybody, Kevin Schulthies here, and yeah, it's late on election night here. Results are getting close to kind of coming in. Still, most of the East is accounted for, most of the polls, just a few stragglers. Middle is mostly there, and West mostly coming in. At least you can see some of the results. But let's take a look at something very interesting here. This is some of the issues with first past the post. Here you have a government, almost get majority government. Get this. Almost a majority government, and they have losing popular vote by hundreds of thousands of votes, and yet they are almost going to be the governing power with bully tactics, bully powers. And not quite. They still can't 100% bully everything in, but they have less than the popular vote in Canada. This is one of the problems with first past the post. It is not certain parties are overrepresented, certain parties are underrepresented. There are a bunch of votes that happen for different seats that should actually tick off a few other people because it's not representative in the seats, right? Hang on, let me pull up my calculator again because I was running these numbers before. Like, look at when you take six. Hang on, let's go 338 divided by 0.061. You should have about 20 seats, 20 green seats. That should really tick off a lot of Canadians. 20 seats. You guys have, it took forever to get one seat. As a CHP member, trust me, I'm part of a party that we need to eventually get one seat, and then that gives us some recognition here. But it takes forever to get one seat. You guys should have 20 seats approximately. A far cry from maybe the 3 or the 4 you might have won. All depends on where things go. 20 seats, right? New Democrats, right? If you take 15%, 338 times 0.15, 50 seats. You're 25 seats short of a rough proportional representation, give or take. How fair is that? Right? People's Party, right? You should 338. We thought they might make a bigger blip this time, but if you go 0.17%, you should have approximately 5 seats. Hey, more than Greens had forever, right? Kind of thing. So that would have got you a little bit of a voice, a couple of few extra seats in Parliament. That would have been not too bad, right? 34%. 4 million. Look at this. 4 million votes. And we have 3.8 and 4 million. And yet, the Conservatives are far behind seats wise, right? Like, look at that. You almost lost out majority government, and we have, in this case, Conservatives with 4 million versus 3.8. That's pretty crazy. But here, let's look at the percentages. Hang on. Let's look at the percentages as well. So let's go 338 times what is it? 3.344. 116 seats. I would actually say, hey, the Conservatives are actually overrepresented, right? NDP underrepresented, Green is underrepresented, Independents potentially, PPC, New Democrats, Bloc Québécois I think is overrepresented if I run the numbers right. So look at this. So 116 seats. Now, if you go 338 times 0.332, 112. So Conservatives would have 116, Liberals 112, pretty darn close. But instead, you almost have a majority government with the losing amount of votes. And then at the same time, Bloc Québécois, let's go 0.085, should have about 28 seats. They're at 32 roughly. Um, that's within error margin and stuff like that for representation. Not too bad. The Conservatives are roughly a little overrepresented. Liberals are very overrepresented. New Democrats under, Greens under, People's Party under, um, underrepresented. And yeah, that's kind of a big thing, right? So either way, guys, this is the issue of first past the post. Um, we got to get rid of it. The conservatives don't want to. Liberals don't want to. They've promised. They've outright lied about getting or having it, and then getting rid of it. And liberals outright should be fired. And that entire team, they all believe the same thing. So you need to fire them all, wash the board clean, bring a handful back, and they should get, 5, 10, 15, 20% of the vote, maybe at most. We should have a lot more green, a lot more independent. We should have People's Party. We need some indigenous people parties or something like that. We need a few other fringe groups to pop up for a little while, grab a seat or two or three, maybe disappear after a cycle or two or something like that when some laws have changed or something like that. We make Canada a better place. We need people at the table, but when you have this system that literally is showing like 4.1, look at that, 4.1 million votes, 34.5% basically, 34.5 versus, or 34.4 versus 33.2. And look at the votes there. It's just, that is kind of sickening. And we need a change. We need a proportional representation, a made in Canada solution. There's a few different styles available out there. They each have their pros and cons. At the same time, you can actually have hybrid systems as well in this day and age, and that work better at representing, both rural and urban, and different people groups and different geography type issues and stuff like that. Canada's pretty wide and sparse and densely populated and sparsely populated. So we can come up with a made in Canada solution with a mixture of proportional representation systems and have a better proportional representation system, because anything is better than first past the post, because it is not very representative at all, and it generates party politics. It's very divisive. These two parties are hating freedom of speech in Canada, are shutting it down, and keep using our propaganda machines to do their dirty communications. And it's pretty crazy. So we need some independence. We need a bunch more people at the table, different groups to speak up and have their voice heard at the Parliament table, representing all of Canada's. And freedom happens inside the bridges. Freedom happens where there is conflict and communication, versus bully governments that just push themselves around, make a million new laws, try to undo all the laws that the past bully government made, and waste a lot of time when you in fact can communicate and make things better for Canada. You can't get away with all your crazy tactics as much. But anyways, here we go. We'll see how, look at that. Like 200,000. I'm going to screenshot that. Yeah. 200,000 person vote difference, and that's pretty sick. And that government has lost, which is like crazy. So this is the losing government right there, and all of Canada has lost because of it. So that's pretty sick. Okay, guys, that's enough for me. I gotta go to bed here.